you're here. Yeah, we're so glad you're here. Oh, we're so glad to be together in unity.
All right. We're going to start talking this morning about a subject that some people will go, ugh. When I say God, when I say the word God, does that elicit some feelings in you? For some people, it does. You know, they've had a lot of trauma around the word God, and so it elicits some feelings. If I say the word Bible, does that elicit any feelings in you? Because a lot of people have been traumatized by the Bible because it's been used incorrectly as a weapon to beat people over the head. Right? It elicits some feelings. So if that's the case for you this morning, I want you to hold on.
I'm holding on.
Okay. Because this morning we're going to start a series on unlocking the spiritual power of the Bible. Because most of us were raised to look at the Bible entirely wrong.
Well,
how many of you have picked up?
There's no right or wrong in that. There's just literal.
Okay.
That's a matter of opinion.
How many? Okay. Point taken. How many of you have grown up?
She has an opinion.
So does he. How many of you have grown up with the understanding that the Bible is a literal book? That poses some issues, doesn't it? Yeah. So what if the Bible isn't telling you what to believe, but showing you rather how to awaken? What if it's not just a book about historical figures way back in the day, but it's actually a mirror reflecting to you a present truth? So many of us were taught, as I said, to read the Bible literally or not at all. Right? I went through that. It's like, I got better things to do with my time than to read all about that horrible God of the Old Testament and all the smiting and smoting and, But there's another way.
Yeah, well, the literal approach gives us a God who is angry with an anger management problem, and a Jesus who is magical, and a set of rules that feel impossible to live by. There are over 600 laws in the Old Testament, in the Hebrew Bible. And then there were lots of rules that were made up about the New Testament. Jesus told us, he said, listen, there's only one law, and it's the law of love. That's it, right? So everything must be built on that. So we either force ourselves to believe things that don't make sense, or we walk away entirely, right? But there's a third way, and that's what we want to talk about. And that's what this series is about. You can interpret the Bible symbolically, metaphysically, and spiritually, right? It's not a rule book. Say it with me. It's not a rule book. But it's a roadmap of consciousness and awakening. Say it with me. Ooh. Doesn't that feel better? So here's the lens for today. The Bible is the story of humanity waking up. From fear to positive trust. From separation to oneness. From survival fear to awakening. Right? And so here's the bold claim that we'll explore. And that is that story isn't just about these ancient people who lived thousands of years ago. It's about you. Say it with me. I'm taking this personal. All right? It's about right now. It's what's going on in this room in your life today. Right?
Yeah.
You know, a guy told me once, he said, I tried reading the Bible, but then I got into Leviticus. How many here has ever read through Leviticus and go, wow?
Or you've had Leviticus quoted to you and you didn't know that that's what it was.
Right.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's where a lot of people stop. You know, they say, I don't understand this. And I was that way for a long time. You know, even though I was a minister, I would, and I was a fundamentalist for many years. You know what a fundamentalist is, right? It's someone who forgets to put the fun before the mental. Right? And so, and there was a certain line, and it was very political in reality because you had to say it the way that you were told to say it. Right? Now, in unity, we give people the freedom because you already have it. We're not really giving it to you. How many know you give yourself permission to believe what works for you? Isn't that great? You give yourself permission. What works for you? If it doesn't work for you, that's okay. Right? We're not here to convince anybody of any dogma, any doctrine, any teaching that you must believe this. You know, if you don't believe this, then you're just wrong. You're going to hell. You're going to burn roasty, toasty forever. Right? Snap, crackle, and pop. Does that make any sense to anybody? Right? Is there really a God who thinks that way? Who is that way? No, there's not. Right? But see, we hear those stories as little children, and we're told you better be good, better be careful. You know, God's watching you, and you're an evil sinner, right?
Yeah.
And so therefore, you know, you're probably gonna have a really bad ending if you don't come to our church and do what we tell you to do.
Yeah.
But what we want to do is we want to empower people with the ability to make their own choices. How many want that?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So let's give each other the space to experiment and to try different belief systems on. If you want to try the energy healing, go through, and see how it fits and see if it works for you. Right? And that's what life is about. How many know that it's okay to try different things and to experiment with your spirituality? Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because how do you know the truth? Unless you, and Jesus said it this way, he said, seek and you will find, or you will discover, or you will uncover it. So how many know sometimes you have to dig a little bit, right? You got to dig a little bit in order to find the truth.
So if the Bible isn't meant to be read literally, then how might we consider it? Well, one way we can look at it is as poetry. When you read poetry, you're not reading the literal interpretation of it so much as, or the facts of it so much as the meaning. How is it landing on your heart? What emotions is it eliciting? What does it say to you? That's the purpose of poetry. What does it say to you? Another way we can think about it is parables. Parables tell deeper meanings through the use of a story, like, as, right? So think about Jesus saying, There once was a literal sower who had a literal bag, and in that bag was literal seed. No, he didn't say that. He said the kingdom of heaven is like. He spoke in parables. He told stories. He told deep, meaningful truths through stories. That word like. Heaven is like. That's a key. It's an invitation to interpret something for yourself. Right? Does that make sense? So the Bible actually, there's many of us that grew up thinking the Bible was this thing that was written by a couple of writers, way back when. The Bible is actually...
You know what I heard? Jesus carried the
Oh,
King James Version around with him.
Yeah. Any other version is not sanctioned and blessed.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Now I use the James King Version.
No, you do. Yeah, you got that right. Yeah. Okay. So the Bible
I roll time. Yeah.
So the Bible is not one big book. It's a library. It's a library written by over 40 authors, written in 3 languages across more than 1,000 years. Did you know that the Gospels were not written when Jesus was alive? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John were not following Jesus around with a pen and paper and writing down the things he said. Right?
No, they had a recorder.
A digital recorder. Let me
Yeah.
pull that up.
Of course.
No.
It's easier.
No. This book, this library, contains wisdom literature that we find in the books of Proverbs and Ecclesiastes, which provide us with philosophical revelations about how to live our lives. There are poetry books. That's the Psalms, the Song of Solomon. Have any of you dug into the Song of Solomon?
Back in those days, to read the book of the Song of Solomon, you had to be 30 years old because it was very mature.
It was racy. Right?
For adults only.
But the poetry...
Now everybody's going to read it.
The poetry books are like, they show us raw human emotion and the longing for the divine. Many of those poems in the book of Psalms were written by David, who was a very flawed character, right? He had a woman, he had the wife of a woman that he was involved in adultery with, murdered on the enemy war line.
You mean the husband of the wife?
What I say?
Of the woman. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the husband. Yeah, sorry. He was a very flawed character. And many of the Psalms are written about him looking to find his way through that. So they're raw, full of emotion. And then we have prophetic writings like the book of Isaiah and the book of Jeremiah. And those really are to be read in with the understanding of how transformation happens.
Yeah.
How do we transform? We can look at their experiences, watch what happened to them, and see the unfolding of transformation. And then there's historical.
Right. The historical narratives, Genesis, Exodus, and Kings, stories that blend memory, identity, and meaning. In other words, they and all of this, what we have to understand is the Bible, when you look at it from the beginning to the end, it's not really a book that you read linearly. You can do it that way. You read it, start in Genesis and read the whole way through. But it's any spiritual book, you can open it anywhere, and there's something there for you. There's some writers that I've found that when I open their books, there's something on that page that's, that I can feast on, that I can read and meditate on and contemplate, for hours, if I wanted to. And that's kind of the way the Bible is. You don't have to read it, from front to the end. And so it's not really, even though there's historical things in there, we really don't know who wrote the Bible for sure. I used to think that Moses wrote the first 5 books. But then when I read it one day and it said Moses died, and then it started telling the story about what happened to him after he died, I said, now, wait a minute. Now, how could he have done that? How does that work? So there's a lot we don't know about it. But that's okay, because most people in those days, they didn't write. They would listen to others, and it was more of an oral tradition. And a person would say, hey, I heard Moses say this, this, and this, but they were usually pretty accurate when they told, the stories, fairly accurate until it got down to about the 100th person. And, and then people started adding their interpretation to it. You know what I mean? So what we have to understand, all of this comes from the consciousness of people who lived at that time. And the way they saw God is a completely different way than Jesus saw it in the New Testament, and we see it today. You understand? Because there's the growth of and the evolution of thinking and thought, I mean, they didn't have bathrooms back in that day. How many appreciate bathrooms? Thank God for standard plumbing, right? You know what I mean? And there was a lot of things. We're not, the Bible is not teaching us that we're supposed to go back to live like they lived then. We all wear sandals and robes, and women can't speak. Did you know that there are so many churches?
That's a problem.
There are churches in this town, big churches, major churches, that don't allow women to teach because they're taking it literally, when it was a cultural thing, right? It was cultural. And so, we've confused all of this stuff, and we've misunderstood, and we've tried to make it like into some kind of, rule and law, and this is the way it is, and
so that's a great example of Paul wrote some of the books in the New Testament, and they're letters. He was writing letters to all of these little groups that had started up, giving them advice about things that were going on in their groups. And one of the groups was experiencing, they think this is how it was happening, that when people would come in for the meeting, the women had to sit far back or separate from the men. And there would be a teaching, and the women would holler in their questions. And they thought it was disruptive. So Paul wrote to them and said, let your women be silent in the church. He was instructing them in a way to help keep.
It was a specific direction for them. It had nothing to do with a commandment that was supposed to last forever.
Yeah.
Right?
But now we have whole theologies built on women should keep silent in the church.
Yeah.
And that's where it comes from. That's what happens when we take things literally.
Yeah, and see, how do you interpret that? One day I was looking at it, and because, see, the original text did not have periods and exclamation and question marks. Didn't have that. So he could have said, let women keep silent in the church? Are you kidding me? Right? So who knows?
Right.
Who knows what he was trying to tell? So it's not to be taken literally. Yeah. There's some things and that throughout, the law and the prophets that we just don't do today because we're a different culture.
Yeah.
right?
Don't wear plaids and checks together. That's one of the laws back in.
Well, that's probably pretty smart.
Well, I don't know. Today it may be a fashion statement. So then we have the books that are called the apocalyptic visions. And this is the book of Revelation and the book of Daniel. Now, those books, if you take those literally, you're in for a wild ride, especially the book of Revelation, correct? John, the writer of Revelation, was in exile. He was exiled to this island called Patmos. We don't know what kind of funny weed was on Patmos. Who knows what the man was eating? Who knows what kind of visions he might have been seeing? That's just one possibility. Right?
There you go.
Who knows? But he came out with a lot of wild visions that are not to be taken literally.
Well, it's just like dreams. Think about your dreams. You know, when you have dreams and you've got the big woolly mammoth chasing you in the dream, you know, is that what's really going on? No. What's it talking about? You've got a little anxiety going on, right? You got a little fear in your life, you know, or you're sitting in class and with no clothes on. You know, you ever had that dream? Or some people have. There's a lot of people. Yes. There's all kinds, but see, it's not literal. It's just your subconscious telling you something about your life that is applicable for right now. If you can understand your dreams, then you'll understand what John here, and this is not the same John of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. This is a totally different guy. And so when you understand your dreams, you'll understand what the book of Revelation is about. You know, it talks about, you know, a 7-headed dragon. How many have seen dragons lately? Especially the 7-headed kind, right? You know, but the number 7 is symbolic. You know, there's this spiritual numerology in Scripture. The number 1 is the number of divinity. Number 2 is the number of union and coming together and duality. Number 3 is the number of completeness. How many know you live on the 3rd planet from the sun? That you are a spirit, mind, and body, right? That's 3. There's 3 layers to the earth. The crust, the core, the mantle. There's three parts of a tree. We live in the what? The 3rd dimension. Isn't that interesting, right? So the number 3, when you see, have you ever noticed that sometimes you see things in 3s? Anybody here, raise your hand. I just want to see if, isn't that interesting? Right? That's a common thing because we live in this 3rd dimensional reality. So things come to us in 3s many times. And then the number 4, you know, is the 4 corners of the earth. It's a universal, you know, it's a universal number. The number 5 is the number of grace. You know, you take your hand, you know, and it's the number of love, compassion, grace, and care, right? And then the number 6. Ooh, the number 6. Oh, the number 6. Oh, that's a bad number, right? That's bad.
Especially if it's tripled.
That's right. And so 6 is just it says it's the number of a man or a human. It's a human's number. And you know what 6 speaks of? Frustration, incompleteness. And 7 is a number of wholeness and well-being. 8 is the number of new beginnings or the number of infinity. 9 is the number of completeness. Ladies, how many months does it take to have a baby? 9 months, right? And so, you know, all of these things are cycles and there's just different understanding. 10, what's the number 10? There are 10 commandments. Yeah. We'll have to do a talk on the 10 commandments one of these days. Okay. And interpret them from a metaphysical, spiritual perspective. And you'll be, oh, that makes so much, you know what I mean? So when you really dig into it and get what it's really saying, there's so much meat in there. There's so much spiritual nourishment and enrichment, and that's what we want to glean from it. That's what we want to take from it. Things that feed us spiritually,
Right.
that feed our souls, that feed our hearts and our lives.
So Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore said, "The Bible is a record of the experiences of people in their search for God." He also said it is the spiritual journey of humanity. It's the evolution of consciousness. It's not a rule book. It's not a science book. It's not a history book in the modern sense of things. The journey about the knowledge of divinity is different now than it was then. But we can look at their stories and watch the evolution of their consciousness, watch their awakening, see what might just fit for our life today. So the Bible really is about you.
Yeah.
It's about you. It's a record of awakening, a record of the beautiful, messy, contradictory thing that this life is. And it's living. It's a living library. So if you decide you're going to start reading the Bible, before you ever sit down to read anything, before you crack the covers of the book, of the library, ask yourself, what stage of my own spiritual journey does what I am about to read reflect to me? Don't get hung up on the historical past. What does it mean to you now? One of the things that you will learn as we talk about metaphysically interpreting the Bible is that when you see the idea of mountains, ascending mountains, descending a mountain, that's all about raising consciousness and lowering consciousness. There's a story in the Old Testament about the two people who fled the the woman who turned into salt.
Oh, yeah. Lot's wife.
Lot and his wife, right? And
What was her name, by the way?
I don't know if it said.
I don't think they mentioned her name.
I don't know that they do.
Because it was a patriarchal society.
Yeah.
So it wasn't about the women, it was about the men.
But in that story, Lot's wife, they're fleeing the city that is burning and they're headed up to the mountain. They're headed into they're raising their consciousness. But what happens with Lot's wife? She looks back. And not only does she look back, but there's some longing in her heart for what she's leaving behind.
Yeah.
When our ego says, "Oh, don't you really want to go back to that?" Right?
Well, it's going to looking at the past.
Looking at the past, right? Instead
Instead
of ascending the mountain and continuing to have the awareness raising event, she becomes a pillar of salt.
What does that mean?
What does that mean? If you if you read some of Rocco Errico's work, who he writes about the Aramaic interpretation of things, he says that that's kind of verbiage that they may have used back then that says maybe she had a stroke or there was some kind of a paralytic event that happened. And they called it turning into a pillar of salt. But you could also look at it that salt is very, it flavors, it preserves, maybe
she was stuck and preserved in the past, stuck in the past.
So there's so many ways that you can look at these stories in ways that will speak to you today. So it's about you, not just historically, but psychologically and spiritually right now. What's going on with you right now?
Because everything is now.
Yeah.
Have we got that yet? Everything. So whatever you read, you go to a movie. Have you ever noticed that a lot of times you end up being at a movie that speaks to you at a certain level in the time of your life in that moment? Have you noticed that? How synchronistic that life really is? A song comes on the radio and it reminds you, oh, wow, yeah, yeah. It reminds you of something. It speaks to you.
Mm-hmm.
See, life is talking to us through everything, through the trees, through nature, through each other. In our bad days and our good days, whatever days that you're going through, life is talking to you. It's wanting to teach you something. And the Bible's the same way, is all that we're saying. Yeah. Use everything as a lesson. Use everything as a teaching, as instruction. If you're working somewhere, well, what am I getting out of this? What's this about? What kind of relationships do I have with these people? Why am I here? And you look around and you say, well, why are they here? and it's like, it's all instruction. It's all teaching something to help you to elevate your consciousness, to help you to evolve a little bit, to make peace with, right? To make peace with certain things, because it's all inside of you. See, this is the real book. This is the real Bible. It's all inside of you. The only book that makes any difference is the book of you. Your life is a book. Read it. Understand it. Fall in love with it. See what it's telling you. Follow where it's leading you. I am on the James King path. Leah is on the Leah path. You are on your path, and your path is you. God is in you. God is appearing as you. Right here, right now. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
God is showing up through your eyeballs.
Yeah.
It's all about you. That's the beauty that's what we're supposed to understand. So there's so much.
So we're going to spend the next 2 weeks continuing to kind of reframe some of the ideas in the Bible to help you understand, when you look at Scripture, what it means metaphorically, spiritually.
Yeah.
We will break down some of the ideas like the devil, Egypt, Moses, these different things. Because there's meaning in all of it. Evil. James loves to talk about evil.
Yes.
So we'll break all of that down. So that's what you have to look forward to in the next 2 weeks. There's a handout out in the lobby on the table if you choose to take one. So yeah, if you have questions specific that you would like to see us address, let us know.
Yeah. Shoot an email or write it down and hand it to us, or
And we'll try to address.
We'll be happy to,
specifics.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. So did you learn anything today? Just some thoughts, right? Just some thoughts. Just some ideas to contemplate. Try it on. It's like when you go to the store and you're looking for a shirt or a pair of pants or whatever. You got to try it on first, right? Yeah. Except we don't do that anymore. We just order it from Amazon or wherever. Then we try it on and we don't like it. We send it back. Isn't that true? Wow. Let's take a breath together. We're going to turn down the lights. I'm going to invite you to relax for just a moment. Rest your body. Rest your heart. Rest your mind. Maybe you've been thinking a lot this week and analyzing and scrutinizing and trying to figure something out. Well, I want to invite you into a place called the now moment. It's all there is. Right now, right here. Here we are, together in this moment.
God is here now. God is here now. God is here now. God is here now.
Love's here now. Love is here now. Love is here now. Love is here.
Peace is here now. Peace is here now. Peace is here now. Peace is here now.
I am here now.
I am here now.
I am here now. I am here now. I am here. And we are here now. We are here now. We are here now. We are here. We are here now. Let's take a breath together. Breathing easily, gently. Life is what it is. You are who you are. And what that means is that it's important that we accept ourselves where we're at right here, right now. The mind always wants to be somewhere else. The grass is always greener over there somewhere. But the truth is, your life is filled with all the meaning and purpose and joy of today. There's so much going on right here, right now. The birds are singing. The sun is shining. And as you walk through this day, You get to experience it for what it is. And the beauty that is revealed day by day by day. You start to notice the people around you, and your gaze begins to soften a little bit because you're a little softer, a little more open, a little more forgiving, a little kinder and gentler. And life begins to reveal itself to you through the symbols, through everything around us. You turn on your computer and something comes on, and right there is what you need to see. You look out the window. There's so many ways that we can connect with the divine. And of course, the Bible is just one way. It's not the only way. We can use it for good. We can use it to help our lives. And we can use it as a way to understand and to grow and to change and to evolve. And that's all we're saying. So breathe gently, easily now. If you know of someone that you would like to hold and that you'd like to pray for in this moment, I invite you to think about them and to maybe whisper their name. And surround them with your prayers. Affirm their highest and their best. We call forth divine order in each and every life. And dear one, whatever you need today, whether it's physical or it's emotional or maybe it's social, whether it's spiritual, whatever it is you need, we know that God is our source. And we trust in that source. We trust in that higher power to take care of you, to watch over you, to be with you in whatever way you need this day. And I invite you now just to send energy around the room. Maybe say a prayer for the people to your left and to your right. We remember those that are watching online right now. We love you. We bless you. We see you expressing all that you need in your life. And we're grateful for one another. We're grateful for our community. And we hold our nation and our country and our world in peace. We affirm peace, understanding, compassion, and healing. Can you hold that? Hold that in your heart and in your life as you go through the day, just trusting that all things are working together for a higher good. Even when it doesn't look like that it is, we know that it somehow will manifest in a positive way. And so I invite you into the stillness for just a moment. All right. So we say thank you, thank you, thank you. In the name of all that is sacred and holy. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Invite you to reach and stretch as we turn the lights back on. Feeling good, feeling alert, feeling awake.